Listen, he has been a brilliant... We talk about how much we love Pochettino and Spurs the last few years. He's been a major part of that. And the goals that he gets... The great thing, I think... Listen, we know he's got 50 goals in different competitions. I think the big thing is the fact he gets a bit of everything, really. Obviously, he's a right-footed player, so you'd expect most of them with his right. Left-footed 11, headers 8. You know, a few outside the box also. So it shows he does score different types of... goals with different, you know, parts of his body. He's not just somebody who sticks to one thing. The only thing I would say is he gets sometimes linked with Lampard or Scholes or Gerrard, what they did at a similar age. And he's miles ahead of them in numbers. What I would say is Dele Alli, a lot of the time, still gets classed as a midfielder. Now, this season, he's played a lot more deeper at times in midfield. But I think for the majority of the last couple of years, he's almost been a second striker, hasn't he? Not even quite a number 10. A lot of time he's right up there alongside Harry Kane. So I'd expect him to have better numbers than those players. Obviously, they were a bit deeper in midfield. But certainly, a young English player who's sort of got that mentality to get in the box and also the finishing ability and composure to actually finish and score goals at the highest level.
He is playing in a bit of a different role. Does that show that there is this maturity about him that's developing, that he can play in different positions almost for Spurs?
Yeah, I think that particularly when you're a younger player as well, a lot more is demanded from you in terms of sort of where you play. My view is that he's on track for a sensational career. And when I think his career will evolve, Dele Alli. I think you'll see him change position 2 or 3 times. So now I think you see him obviously scoring goals. He's a 1-in-4 man.
If he gets that many goals, though, why would you move him? You're talking about later on, as in late 20s, early 30s.
I don't know what Roy Keane's record was as a young midfield player at Notts Forest, but you think about a young Roy Keane that was raw, who used to run into the box, charge box to box, that energy to get into the box. He was a goal-scoring midfield player.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's more played like a second strike. These goals have
but for England with us, he played in front of he played in the 3-man midfield in front.
He didn't score.
No, he did score. He played as a 1 of 2 in front of a holding midfield player. So he played more deep, but understanding that he needed that, if you like Frank Lampard played for Chelsea, he needed that licence to be able to get into the box. What I would say on Dele Alli is that my view is he will evolve, he will change. I think he could end up in central midfield. I think he could end up controlling the game. I think he could end up being a good passer of the ball. I think his mentality is fantastic and his hunger is brilliant. So you think about actually first the tackles, second balls, the things what would be the ugly side of the game. Dele Alli can do that. Now, obviously, he'll need to develop and understand how to defend more because obviously he's playing more further forward at the moment. Sometimes he plays off the left. Sometimes he plays off the right, sometimes he plays as number 10, sometimes he's like a centre-forward. But I think he's a flexible football player that will evolve over his career and end up with the ability to go back deeper. And I mean, Roy Keane went on the most influential player I ever played with. But I think Dele Alli's got that in him. In the early years of 21, 22, you sort of look at that. If he's developed like he is doing and coached under Michel Pochettino, I see no bounds of where he could end up.
Listen, scoring goals is the most difficult thing in the game. I think as long as he's scoring goals, he won't be getting moved back. I understand what you're saying. He'll mature, he may go deeper, he may find someone else who can score.
Why don't you think he'll move back?
And what I'm saying is, if you're a manager of a team, you've got someone who scores that many goals, why would you move him back?
No, but I look at, for instance, the greatest midfield players over the last 10, 15... or some of the greatest midfield players over the last 10, 15 years, Steven Gerrard or Paul Scholes or Roy Keane. They ended up being a lot deeper as their career sort of... They were goal scoring. They were charging into the box every time.
What I'm saying is that's sort of because they were getting to 30, maybe the legs are...
Yeah, tore even.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, are you talking about this in the next 3 or 4 years, or when he's over... If he's over 30, yeah, I get that. I'm talking about right now and evolving. Are we talking like in the next 3 or 4 years?
I think it could happen quicker.
But that's my point is, OK, that's your opinion of it, but I think if he's still scoring goals at that rate, I think a manager would be daft to move him back.
Spurs, though, creeping up very quietly on the top 2. They're only 6 points off the top. They're 8 points better off than this time last season. And just have a look at this, Jamie. The next 5 fixtures, and bear in mind that Liverpool have got Manchester United at the weekend. They've got City on January the 3rd. Could Spurs actually be pretty close to the top by the time we get into FA Cup third round weekend?
Listen, I've said for a while that Tottenham and Liverpool, maybe I'm getting proved wrong about my own team in some ways, that it's always been Liverpool and City, everyone else has said, and I've always thought, well, it's a bit harsh on maybe Tottenham. Tottenham have finished above Liverpool for so long. Obviously, Liverpool have made massive investment in the summer, Tottenham haven't, and there is that gap there. But that can easily be bridged with Tottenham. I think they're a really good side. The big thing for Tottenham is, you always think about sort of title winners or teams who do well. And when I was a kid, it was a 42-game season. And to win the league then, it was always you can't lose more than 6 games in the 42. Certainly not 7 maximum. I'm not sure if anyone won it with 7. Spurs have actually lost 4 already. I'm not talking about in terms of winning the title, but you think you lose 4 games at this stage, it's a big problem. They haven't drew a game. The killer is probably not losing, it's drawing too many games. If you're going for games and winning more often than losing, okay, they've lost 4, but not drawing games is massive. Better to win 1 and lose 1 than draw 2. And that's the real big thing why Spurs are right up there, because losing 4 after 16 games is not great, but no draws is massive.